I think there are a lot of questions about privacy, and particularly on the civil liberties side, the question is what information can the government get about your genomics by mining these private databases that companies like 23andMe are setting up? And it's an interesting question because this is potentially very useful to law enforcement from a forensic standpoint. Right now, let's say that there's a crime that takes place after this event outside this building. It would be, and there's some DNA left at the scene, it would be unconstitutional for the police to come and mine the Commonwealth Club's database, get the names of everybody that was in this room, and then go and physically seize DNA from everybody that attended this event. However, that's not necessarily true if everybody is using a service like 23andMe. Those constitutional protections don't apply. You don't need to show reasonable cause in order to get access to the information to mine the database. And the question is, should Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable seizure apply? Should they require a warrant in order to get genetic information? And I think this is something that needs to be addressed not just in personal genomics, but all technologies where you're storing private information about yourself on remote computers. That this applies for services like Gmail and Hotmail. The same thing applies. If the government doesn't require reasonable cause in order to access your emails through Gmail, you in fact give up your Fourth Amendment rights. You don't have the same protections on Google servers that you do on your own personal computer. So I think it raises a lot of questions, also perhaps from a public health standpoint. I hear some people in this room coughing. It's possible there could be an outbreak of H1N1, and the
swine
CDC,
flu.
Exactly, swine flu. And the CDC could very much want to know what portion of the population is more susceptible to infection from this virus so that they can preemptively go to your door and quarantine you. You could see why they would want to do this. There's the potential that they could mine private databases for this. There's also the potential that for national security reasons, I can imagine people at the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency right now, these are the people that are paid to think about far out sorts of projects that can help our national defense and national security. I can imagine somebody at DARPA sitting there right now thinking, what do you think the genetic profile is of a potential terrorist? And if we can identify what the genetic profile is of somebody who has a given racial background and has a genetic predisposition to fanaticism, perhaps we can go and preemptively wiretap them or lock them up. These are the types of things that the government could do, and the government often goes to private companies to mine their databases because, oftentimes it's more convenient than collecting the information themselves, which is part of the reason why the NSA enlisted AT&T in warrantless wiretapping, because AT&T had all of this information going through its infrastructure already. It was very convenient for the government to just go and demand that information directly from the private company. So I think these are the types of things that need to be addressed in legislation at the federal level. It's not really something we can do in the state of California, but these are things that we need to think about long term.
How much of this came into play, Linda, when you were first creating 23andMe, and how much of this is incorporated in your privacy policies?
Well, that is something that we thought long and hard about, of how do we protect the information as much as we